Viewer listener discretion is advised. The majority of the content of this program is not fact-checked, and it is highly advised that it not be used for teaching your children from said content, other than making an example out of the hosts of what they should not grow up to be. Remember this, it's the beer talking.
Welcome to the truth about beer.
All the crap that we're interested in.
Searching
for the truth. Exploring the unexplained. Investigating the paranormal. Subscribe now.
Hit the alert
button so you don't miss an episode.
Ow!
Welcome to the truth
about beer.
and
Nope, and did it by itself.
that's awesome.
Friggin' awesome.
Wow.
We're back.
Did we fool you last week?
Ha ha ha.
I don't think we did.
I don't think we did either. I think people know us too good.
I was back in the back office the whole time, watching the comments come through, and didn't want to give it away, so
Yeah.
waited till the very end.
But it was fun, right? It was still
Yeah,
fun.
I actually learned something from that episode.
Did you?
Yeah, I don't remember what it was now, but I remember learning something. I think it was just the where April's Fools got started.
Oh, the history of April Fool's.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it went through, but there was something in there that struck me as, but it didn't last. So it was just more like a,
one of those quick moments.
Yeah.
One of those fleeting moments. I'm trying to get onto Rumble here. So
Yeah, see, Mama Cat, I saw you say, I'm out. She wasn't impressed, I don't think.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on.
It's only about a couple minutes into the show, and she's like, nah, I'm out. She had to go watch Halloween, I think it was, she said.
Oh.
Was it Halloween? Yeah. That's a good show, though.
Halloween?
Yeah, that's one of my faves.
Oh, yeah. Definitely a good show.
Mm-hmm.
Is Arthur on yet? I owe Arthur an apology. I was supposed to call him the other day, and time got away from me. Arthur, I apologize. I will call you tomorrow if you're available. My week just kind of went, you know how that goes.
All too well.
God, just time got away from me, and it's just like, I was supposed to call somebody else too. Just
are they on here that you can apologize
no,
to? Okay.
No, well, unless Rob's partner Tony's watching, but
okay.
I was supposed to call him too. So yeah, so crazy.
He can relate.
Yeah,
I think we all can.
Yeah. Well, I was in Vegas all last week, and coming back trying to recover from that was just, and it wasn't due to partying either, So it's just anytime you go away and you come back, it's tough to recover from it.
What's really weird about last week?
What's that?
Is it's more of a blur than any other week I normally go through, because I was home every day last week.
Yeah.
It was weird.
So your routine got all messed up, huh?
It did. Or I got lazier. I did nothing. Or a little bit, because I did watch our show last week.
Yeah, you did that.
I was one of the few viewers that tuned in. We just didn't want to have nothing on, and I wasn't going to do the show all by myself because I'm just way too shy, and there would be a lot of how about them Diamondbacks?
We have had enough on our show between you and I. We don't need to add to it, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
And it was really a last minute thing, right? Because didn't I come to you Sunday or something?
Oh yeah, we originally were just gonna say, okay, we'll just have a bye week.
Right, yeah.
Then you came up with that, and
I
said, yeah, okay, that's cool. Let's do it.
It's April Fool's Day, so
it works.
Oh, you could have had Jack.
Yeah, he could do a whole show by himself.
He can.
He doesn't need any help.
No, he could do a whole show by himself. 100%.
Yeah.
All right. Quick shout out to our sponsor.
Here we go.
I forget. Wrong slide. So Project Y Why? Because we care. No, just kidding. So their products, I'm just waiting on the word, folks. They keep telling me the labels were printed and they should have product in. So as soon as we get them, we can start sharing that with you guys. In the meantime, go check out www.projectwhynow.com. And don't forget to check out their podcast, the Ycast. This is another episode on this Wednesday. So
awesome.
Tomorrow night. Yeah. Wow. Time just crunches together. So definitely go check it out. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget, go check out our Patreon page. We're going to start filming more of the movie next week. So you'll get some more behind the scenes stuff on there. So make sure you go sign up for a membership. Has to be top tier membership though, to get the benefits.
Yes. And the real bonus, if you're a member of Patreon, when the first chapter, I mean, it's not a full episode, but the full episode has 3 chapters to it.
Right.
So we're working on 1 chapter right now. So if you are a Patreon member, when that chapter's ready, you'll get to see it
before anybody else.
I don't think anybody else is going to see it.
No, nobody else is going to see
unless they become a Patreon.
That's true.
Member.
That's a good point.
Unless they're members of the cast.
Yeah.
So, well,
yeah, we are excited about doing this.
I keep losing my voice.
I know. So you got to speak quietly.
Been yelling too much.
So we are doing something a little different tonight. As far
as opposed to every other show.
I meant beer wise.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We have some explaining to do.
Some splaining. Got some splaining to do.
Yeah.
So tonight is going to be a non-alcohol show. Probably the first in the entire time we've been doing this.
Yeah, I think so.
6 years we've been doing it.
But it still has part of the theme, even though
it does.
Yeah.
It does. Well, we have 2 things.
2 things.
2 different things.
Yeah.
We have an ale and a beer.
Yeah.
Non-alcoholic.
So what do we want to start off with? The ale or the beer?
I think as tradition happens, we should start out with the beer.
Oh, there you go.
So if you can find that one. There it is.
There it is.
That's it. So
what can you tell us about Kroger's?
It's made by Kroger. So we're going with a ginger beer tonight. So no alcohol in it, but it does have beer in the name. And I'm making a mess over here. I should have brought a towel up here. But yeah, so we're gonna drink some ginger beer. Now, if you never had a Moscow Mule, then you probably never tried ginger beer. But
I do like those.
It's good stuff. Is this filtered?
Let's see.
It's probably not going to have a head on it, but
depends on how fast you
pour.
Oh,
it's clear.
It's wow,
super
it's really clear.
Yeah, I didn't realize ginger beer was
like how beer looks the next day.
Well, it's got a little champagne twinge to it, doesn't it?
Well, it does, yeah.
Right? Yeah. I'd say it's not perfectly clear.
So I'll explain.
You going to explain?
I'll explain. So, as I don't know many, I can't say many. A few of you know my history of having lymphoma, which back in 2008 I was originally diagnosed with it and went through 2.5 years of treatment. And in 2012, when I met Keith, was when I'd gotten the I don't call it a clean bill of health, but it was deemed to be in remission.
The all clear sign.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah. Lymphoma is a cancer they can't get rid of.
Right.
Yet. And so had good 12 years of remission. And when I moved to Texas, December of 2023, all of a sudden I noticed a big old lump growing on my neck. Noticed it because I was feeling it, feeling like I was choking myself when I'd pull my t-shirts on and off and stuff. And so I kind of knew what it was. And so went to an oncologist there, and it was said, yep, it's back again. And I was told by my original oncologist, he says, thing with lymphoma, says we can get it into remission, but if it comes back, it usually comes back with a vengeance.
That's right.
So they decided to do a really heavy duty chemo treatment on me in Texas, which was, a lot stronger than the original. And I made it through that. But, when I'd go and get my blood tests and all that, so I said, everything looks great. You're looking really good. And I told my oncologist, that I was going to be moving back to Arizona. And so I had finished all my treatments, and she had done another PET scan, which she said it looked fine. But in her parting words to me, she says, you really probably should look into a transplant, cell transplant. And I thought, well, that's weird. Why are you telling me to do that if everything looks great?
Yeah, exactly.
And since we were going to be coming to Arizona, I didn't want to tie myself up in Texas going through all that. So besides, I didn't really feel like it was something that I was going to need.
Right. Well, you're leaving there with the assumption that everything's good.
Everything's good. So I got set back up with my oncologist here in Arizona. And so I guess December again, that would be 1 year later.
God, it was that long ago, huh?
Yeah. So my oncologist here, of course, wanted his own PET scan and tests and stuff. And so when I had my appointment with him in December, I thought, I'm going to go in. It's going to be normal stuff. He's going to go, everything looks great. You can, just go and do your thing. So that's what I was expecting. And I go into the appointment, and he goes, says, well, your last chemo didn't work. You did in Texas. And he pulls out the PET and shows me, all the hot spots that were still there. And he says, and now that you've tried chemo for a second time, and it's stronger and it didn't work, says you really need to look into a transplant. And I said, shit. You're supposed to tell me everything's great, and I'm ready to move on. So
the chemo, the last treatment chemo you had didn't do anything, like didn't touch it at all, or
no, it shrunk everything.
Oh, did it?
I mean, because I had that big knot in my neck, and that definitely went down, and things felt kind of normal, other than it screwed with my eyes and all that.
Right.
I've still got floaters in both eyes that are really nasty. But so they went with a PET scan that I had in June of last year, which wasn't the last PET scan I had. And I don't know why he couldn't get a copy of that. But I had the disc from the PET scan I had last June. So they were comparing that one, which wasn't the latest, to the newest one he did in December. And things had grown bigger since last June. So that's why he knew it was moving on. So my oncologist says, and now that we're at this point, he says, this is out of my expertise. So I need to turn you over to some specialists. And so referred me over to MD Anderson, and got probably the best of the best over there on my team, or that are tending to me. And so they're looking at, it's called CAR T cell.
It's pretty cool.
It's pretty freaking amazing.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
It's scary, but amazing.
Yeah.
And so if you know anything about CAR T, it's been around about 20 years, but it's only been approved by FDA since 2017. And it'll be quite the process that I'm going through. So tomorrow, I'm not really excited about tomorrow because tomorrow is cell collection day.
So you gonna put that on your calendars?
Yeah, it's there. So, so I got to be in at 7 in the morning to the hospital. They'll put a couple tubes in my neck, and then they say they have a limo service, from the hospital over to MD Anderson.
I heard great. I've really heard great things about MD. Really,
Yeah.
I mean, I've in all the years it's been open out here, I've just heard nothing but good things about that hospital.
Yeah,
So,
I've been super impressed since I've been seeing people over there. And so tomorrow, after they put those in, I'll go over there, put me in a nice, easy chair that I'll be sitting in for about 6 hours while they do. It's kind of like a dialysis thing because they pull the blood and pull out the T cells until they get enough, and then they'll cut it off and pull the plugs and make me lay still for about an hour so it can congeal, so I don't bleed out. And then I get to go home. And so over the next 3 weeks, they take those cells and they're shipped off to a lab where they genetically modify them.
Put little robots in and stuff.
Yeah. No, really, it reminded me of the Fantastic Voyage.
Right.
Anybody remembers that movie from the 60s? I think Raquel Welch was in that.
I think you might be right.
Anyway, in that they send a little, they shrink a submarine, put it in a hypodermic needle and put it in the person's veins, and then the submarine goes through the veins, and they have lasers to destroy blood clots and stuff. So that's
kind of like Inner Space too. That was another movie.
Yeah, that's right.
Remember that?
Yeah,
that was a funny movie.
It was. And so what they do is they take these T cells, and like I said, they genetically modify them so that the way they explained it was kind of cartoonish. He wrote it down.
But simplify it. I mean,
simplified. Yeah. So says, okay, these are your T cells. And so they have an indicator, a flag that says, these are me. And then they took, I froze there for a second. It scared me. So 3 weeks ago, or it's only been 2 weeks ago. So I went in and had the biopsy.
Lindsay and I were talking about that. I think it was 2 weeks ago.
I don't know. It's still looked pretty good. So it's nice big incision there. So they pulled out a whole lymph node to use for the biopsy.
Did you get to see it after they pulled it out?
Yeah, that would have been interesting. I would like to see it.
I want to see that thing. I want to see what's been living in my neck.
Yeah. It feels like it's still there though.
Yeah.
It's still pretty swollen. Anyway, so they'll take that biopsy piece and they find the cancer cells in there, which also have markers that they program to say not me, and they mix it with the T cells that say me. So once they're all ready to go, they'll put those cells back in 2 doses, and they go right to work in hunting down the not me's and killing them. But they happen at such a fast rate. While I'm going through those 2 infusions, they'll do one on what they call day 0 and one on day 7. So for 2 weeks, I have to be in the hospital with 24-hour monitoring and all that, because it does do a really quick job at killing cells. And so you've got your kidneys can get pretty gummed up, and there's interesting things that can happen. I mean, they let me know, and I said you could have to end up doing dialysis while you're there if they get too gummed up. Also, they can cause you to build up more moisture in your lungs, and that has its issues. Pneumonia, pneumonia. Yep. And then the most interesting one is that what it does in the brain is it. I'm going to pull out the book.
Yeah, you would tell me this. You would tell me this earlier, and just kind of weird.
So I can tell you I've got a
whole manual there. Interesting.
CAR T. Yeah, just the side effects that can come from it.
Yeah, the one story you were telling me was pretty strange.
It's pretty
weird.
wild.
Yeah.
So first thing is it's called cytokine release syndrome. So that's where I think that's the one they said it'll come up the kidneys. Immune effector cell associated neurotoxicity syndrome.
Jesus.
That's a long one. And that's the one I'll tell you. That's the brain one.
Oh, the brain one. Okay.
Yeah. And then tumor lysis syndrome. But anyway, we'll go back to this one. So the immune effector cell associated neurotoxicity syndrome.
Jesus.
Can bring on confusion, delirium, agitation, hallucinations, trouble speaking or not able to use the. See, I can't even do the processed language right now. Tremors, seizures, weak muscles, not able. Oh, this doesn't sound fun at all. Not able to control urine malfunction.
Well, at least you're in the hospital, right?
Yeah. With pull-ups. And increased pressure inside the skull. And then also pressure around the brain. So anyway, story he told me, and it was kind of fun, actually, the way he told it. So one of his patients was a younger girl. I think she was like around 26. And the thing, I'll back up just a little bit because this isn't a first timers type of a treatment. This is a last resort treatment when they can't get these cancers under control. And so she's pretty young, 26, and this is she's already at a last resort. So, so she was in the hospital and she was eating her breakfast, enjoying herself and her breakfast. And he says, and all of a sudden she just kind of was gone. She just kind of had that blank look and just should respond to him a little bit here and there, but not anything that made any sense. Ask her how she's doing. And she said, avocado,
Yeah, just random.
Just random stuff. And she was in that state for 3 days. So this was breakfast. And evening of the third day, she was just sitting in her chair and she looks around and goes, where did my breakfast go? And why is it dark outside? And so they tried to explain to her that she was gone for 3 days. And for her, it was just a spontaneous.
That's just weird though,
trip.
right? I mean, yeah.
From there. So the other thing that the way they explained is you can feel like you're in a foreign country and don't know the language.
Wow.
Even though it's your own language.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll all happen. Like I said, they take the cells tomorrow and they need 2 to 3 weeks to genetically modify them.
Right.
And then I'll go in the hospital on May 4th is what they're predicting and start the treatment there. So 2 weeks in the hospital and then another 60 days of being closely monitored and tell me I can't drive during that period.
Because of that reason.
Yeah. Because of that reason. Sure. So any of those symptoms can manifest anytime during there, but more commonly is, of course, during the 2 weeks of when they start the process. So anyway, it's going to affect the show a little bit.
Yep.
So wanted to make everybody aware of it. And I'm excited to go through it, but super, super, super nervous at the same time because of the possible side effects and just the thought of somebody sticking tubes in my neck tomorrow is really kind of terrifying.
But really, that's the easy part, right? In the spectrum of everything.
Thank you, Mama.
Yeah, and
say that there.
I know we're laughing, and I think we we have to laugh to keep our spirits high, right? So that's
Yeah.
that's why we're kind of laughing about it. But in all, of course, we'll all be praying for you, and
Thanks.
100%, and I'll be a pain in the ass in the hospital visiting you. So
Cool.
Yeah, definitely, and I the success rate that you told me is pretty phenomenal.
Well, that's what
for something like this.
Yeah. So I'll back up to the comment I said where lymphoma is not curable.
Right.
And they reserve that word,
They do.
quite a bit, but right now they're showing a 65% cure rate.
That's pretty amazing.
So
it really is.
And I'm sure it's really, really expensive, and I hope I'm worth it. Because I'm not paying for it. Well, I am. With my own body.
Yeah, you're paying for it in one way or another. Yeah, 100%.
So
it would be nice if it kicks it and it's gone.
That would be super, super good. And I am going to try to document it on my TikTok, my personal TikTok channel.
I think you should. Absolutely think you should.
Because it's such a fascinating process. So I'll probably start that tomorrow once I do the blood, or maybe while I'm even on the machine, I might do a TikTok, just
especially for people that, maybe have heard about this treatment and are on the fence about the treatment. If they see somebody like you going through it, that could be extremely beneficial to somebody.
Yeah, I would like to see that myself.
Yeah. If you knew,
I've seen videos on it. If you go on YouTube and look up CAR T cell treatment, you'll find a few videos on it that are really fascinating, that really show what it's all about. But yeah, somebody that's actually gone through it and, given their testimony.
I was going to say testimonial. That's what I was going to use.
Yeah. So maybe it could help somebody.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, you beat it before, you'll beat it again. Hopefully this time forever.
So with that, I'm going to drink some ginger beer.
We need to cheers.
Cheers.
Definitely. Cheers to your treatment.
Yeah. Good stuff. So.
Yeah, you definitely need to do the TikTok for sure.
Yeah, I started to last year when I was going through it again. And I know I've mentioned this on the show before that I just kind of gave up through the middle of it because I'd lost too many people that year to cancer. And Christine lost her husband, and it was like, I don't want to be out here, looking. I wasn't looking for sympathy or anything. I was just trying to, again, document the journey. But it was like, it just felt too self-serving to me.
Yeah.
To do it. And
it
wasn't necessary.
I don't look at it that way though. I look at it as you could be a voice for other people, and people want to hear your story and want to know what you go through, what you experience. I mean, God forbid I ever come down. You're the first person I would go to, right? I would want to know your experiences and how you dealt with certain things. I'd want to hear from somebody who's experienced it, not what the doctors tell me.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, no, I did that originally too. I did find people that had gone through that. I just don't know anybody that's gone through CAR T. So.
Right.
So yeah. And it was, at the promptings of my family too, because I was living in Texas and brothers and sisters and all that are scattered all over the country. So, giving them updates and that, but I don't know. It just didn't feel right. So, so I quit once we lost our drummer to cancer. And so anyway, this will be different because it's just such a,
it's still new technology in the grand scheme of 20 years. You said it's been only approved for what, 10?
8 now,
8,
right?
So so that's new. That's really new in the medical industry. So
So That's cool. I didn't know his daughter went through cancer.
Yeah, I think it's very beneficial to other people.
Yeah.
I do.
And it is kind of therapeutic to voice things out loud too.
Yeah.
So it might help me too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So. All right, that's enough about me.
So we'll let you guys know, in the coming weeks what's going to happen with the show. We may decide to throw a few, and when you're at home after the treatment, obviously you'll probably come on remotely. But
yeah,
I
won't be able to drive unless somebody comes and picks me up.
During that time, might be a little break in the show.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And if all of a sudden I freeze, mid-sentence and start talking about litter of kittens or something,
that'd be a great paranormal show, right? Joey just got an attachment. Look what happened.
Oh, that's what the doctor told me, though.
Oh,
the one that was telling me that story.
Yeah,
he says that they have had, because she wasn't the only one that did experience that way.
Right.
There were others, but they do have a clinical hypnosis or hypnotherapist.
Okay.
That does life regression stuff.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. So they want to know what was going on during that lost time in their brains.
Huh.
And he never did really tell me what they came up with, but it's a thing.
That's crazy. Can you imagine?
Yeah. You were gone for 3 days. What were you doing?
Yeah, where did you go?
That would be interesting, huh? Thank you, Amy.
Add a body experience, maybe, or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did have that happen to me when I was in high school. Well, just out of high school. I told you that story.
Yep, you did. You did.
I think I was abducted by aliens.
Could have been. You could have been.
At least I have some lapse of time there.
Right.
It wasn't 3 days, but it was 45 minutes, maybe.
You're going to get prayers all around.
Can never have enough.
That's true.
And I appreciate it all. So what are we talking about tonight?
now that everybody's depressed.
That's like our last show too. Something we were talking about in our, yeah. It wasn't. See, my brain's already gone, so it doesn't really matter. Can only improve it. Our leprechaun show.
Oh yeah.
We got into something that was really dark,
really depressing. Yeah.
Sorry about that. We want our show to be fun.
Well, this might be fun tonight. So this is an episode we've been trying to do for 2.5 months now, and kept getting pushed off because we were doing filming. We'd go to do the show and then something else would come up, and so we haven't had an opportunity to do it, but we figured, okay, tonight we're doing it, damn it.
So here you go.
So tonight we're talking about giants of the earth.
That would explain the dinosaurs behind us.
Yes, it would. One's about to bite you in the head. So this is something, we kind of touched on this a little bit in our earlier seasons, right? We've kind of had some of these conversations a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
they
not.
Do come up.
They do
in different topics. They came up in our, well, maybe they didn't. I'm saying our zombie episode.
Yeah, they did. It was zombie.
Oh, excuse me.
Epic of Gilgamesh.
This really does a great job of giving you some.
I got heartburn from it. And I'm only halfway through the glass. Giants have captivated the imagination of cultures around the world. These colossal beings, often depicted as titans of strength and size, have left an indelible mark on folklore and storytelling, symbolizing the very mysteries of our existence and the natural world. Yes, I started down further a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm on the first paragraph still.
Okay.
But
All
I just started down a little bit. So,
all right.
The origins of giant myths can be traced back to ancient civilizations. In Greek mythology, the Titans were primordial beings that preceded the gods of Olympus, representing the raw and untamed forces of nature. Similarly, I can't even say the word tonight. Never mind. Similarly, in Norse mythology, the Jotun, is that how you say that?
I still can't find where you're at.
Jotun, second paragraph. Jotun. I'm going to say Jotun or giants were often in conflict with the gods, embodying chaos and uncertainty. These giants were not merely monstrous figures. They were often complex characters that interacted with humanity, sometimes benevolent, sometimes malevolent. Is that right? Jesus Christ.
I'm not even going to try to say it again.
Don't try to say it again.
I can hear it in my brain just fine.
I can't read tonight. Sorry.
So, in various cultures, I'll start there.
Okay.
Giants were believed to inhabit remote mountains or vast oceans. The tales of the Cyclops, those are one-eyed giants who forged thunderbolts for Zeus.
Wow.
Now, I didn't know that was their purpose.
Didn't know that either.
They echo the theme of giants as both creators and destroyers. In the Bible, the Nephilim are described as the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men. Wait.
That's exactly what it says.
That's what it says. Okay, often interpreted as giants who roamed the earth before the Great Flood, embodying the moral complexities of humanity's relationship with the divine. Yeah, because my understanding is they were called the sons of God who went and had their way with mortal women.
Well, it does say daughters of men.
And the daughters. So that paragraph makes it sound like the Nephilim are the offspring of God and the daughters of men.
Oh, that's true, huh? Yeah, it does say it that way.
That's kind of odd.
That's weird.
Which raises a lot of questions.
Yeah, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah. I mean, if it's in the Bible, I don't know. I think it's something that needs to be left alone.
Probably. I'm good with that. So, not only these giants found on land, but they're also found in the sea. So the oceans too have their share of giant folklore. The Kraken, legendary sea monsters, often depicted as a colossal octopus or squid capable of dragging entire ships beneath the waves. If you watched Pirates of the Caribbean, you've seen that. Sailors' tales of enormous sea creatures that have been inspired by real encounters of giant squids or whales, but over time, these accounts morphed into mythic proportions. The depths of the ocean remain largely unexplored, leaving room for speculation about what giant beings might still lurk beneath the surface.
Now, there was a book by Michael Crichton called The Sphere.
Okay.
That they turned into a movie, which the movie kind of sucked, but it had those giant creatures under the ocean that wreaked havoc on that sphere.
What's the deepest part of the, was it the Mariana Trench or whatever they call it? You know, we can't go down that far. So who the hell knows what's down there?
No kidding. There could be all kinds of stuff that, and maybe there's stuff down there that's just like we can't go that deep. They can't
come up.
Yeah. You know, so
that'd be pretty fascinating if we ever do get to explore.
Something that won't implode as they
as they go down there. Yeah. That's kind of crazy.
Wow. In many indigenous cultures, giants are often seen as guardians of the earth, representing the natural forces that shape landscapes. The American West is rich with Native American legends of giants, such as the
Sitka, yep.
Okay, who were said to be cannibalistic giants that roamed the land. These stories often serve as cautionary tales, warning against
hubris.
Hubris? Okay, and the disruption of nature.
Hmm.
What is that hubris thing? I'm not familiar with that
I've
word.
heard of hubris before. Don't ask me what the
And it
meaning
must be
is.
bad for nature.
I don't remember it. All right, we'll go back to this. Let's get into some of these giants of the
All
earth,
right.
shall we?
Oh, yeah.
So,
I want to see pictures.
of course, my favorite as a kid and still as an adult, of course, it's dinosaurs, right? So, dinosaurs evolved from reptiles during the Triassic period and became the dominant land animals until an asteroid impact 66 million years ago took them out. So, I've always been fascinated with, and my fascination with dinosaurs was just the idea that something that big was around, right? I mean, we've all seen elephants, we've all seen giraffes, we've seen blue whales. I mean, they're massive creatures, but dinosaurs dwarf them.
No kidding.
I mean, yeah, just think that something that big was all over the planet at one time. It's pretty fascinating to me.
Yeah. And I love Jurassic Park.
That was an awesome movie. Still today.
And that was Michael Crichton, too.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And the book was nothing like the movie, too.
No, I read those books, too.
So interesting. It says the first dinosaurs were small, 2-footed omnivores with large hands. Dinosaurs evolved. What? Dinosaurs evolved from dog and horse-sized creatures into the largest land animals ever. Birds evolved from theropods during the late Jurassic period. And Jurassic Park kind of got into that a little bit, too.
Yeah.
So the asteroid impact in present-day Mexico, 66 million years ago, is thought to have caused the extinction of the dinosaurs. The impact created an impact winter that wiped out the dinosaur habitats worldwide. Where is that crater? I know the one in New Mexico. There's one here in Arizona, too. But
yeah. We got to go visit that one.
the one here?
Yeah.
We should. I've always wanted to go see it.
Yeah, me too. Seems to me I just saw a map of that, showed where the impact crater is. And no, it's not the Gulf of America.
Well, if you remember, when you look back at old world maps, right, all the continents were squished together.
Yeah.
So be curious if
I got to see.
Right, where that landed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have looked that up. Joey's going to look for that. So, of course, we have the Greek giants, right? All the Greek mythology that you've come to know and love over the years. So, the Gigantus, or giants, were a race of powerful beings, offspring of Gala, Earth, and Uranus, Sky, who waged war against the Olympian gods in a battle known as, I'm not even going to try to say that. Yeah, I'm not even saying it. I'm not trying it.
Where are you at?
The end of the first paragraph. Jesus. I'm not going to pronounce any of this shit. I'm just not doing it because it's going to be bad. Paramore Crater east of Duggo. Really? There's one out there too? I didn't know there was one. Jesus. They're everywhere. I'm seriously not going to try to pronounce any of these Greek names, but I know Poseidon.
I've heard that name.
I've heard that name too. I did see that was a cool story, actually. So the dire wolves, they brought the dire wolves back. 6 months old now. By 2028, they're hoping that a woolly mammoth to be born. I
did hear something about that.
Skulls from giants. Yep.
But I didn't realize they'd already done something.
Yeah, there's a video of them. It's really cool.
I gotta get rid of my gum.
All right, so we have your Greek mythology, right?
Sorry,
go ahead.
No, it's the 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 Chicxulub impactor. I can't say any of these words. But,
Oh
I mean, it's a huge crater, but I'm trying to see how that
I promise.
overlays.
We went to school. We graduated. We went to college.
So this is really interesting. So that would be the Gulf of America now. So it kind of formed your hometown and all that stuff, if I'm looking at it right. Right? If that's like the Gulf, I mean, this is an ancient depiction of
That's
it.
interesting.
So, I mean, that's North America, and it's kind of.
Maybe you think Long Island broke off from that?
Wow.
But
I mean, that's the picture I saw.
Is it present day Mexico? Is that where they say it is? Where it ended up after everything shifted?
Oh, South America. Let's see. This one has a little better.
I'm really confused.
Because that would probably be like Panama, right?
Yep, that's exactly what that would be.
Okay.
That is South America.
So that's way down.
Yeah, that's way down there.
Way down.
Yep.
Yonder on the Chattahoochee.
That's massive too.
Yeah, it is.
Huh.
Anyway,
go Google that. That's interesting. All right. So the fall of the Greek giants, Zeus and other Olympians, along with the help of Hercules, defeated the giants in a gigan. How do you say that? Gigantomachy. I don't know what the fuck that says. The great war between the gods and the giants. Specific giants like Hippolytus, that sounds like a disease, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Were killed by Hermes.
That also sounds like some kind of disease there.
Hermes granted by Artemis and Thos.
Sure.
And yeah, them.
See, why didn't they
guys.
teach this as regular history?
They didn't
when we were
teach
in
us.
school. Then we could learn these words.
Oh, I took Greek mythology, but we only talked about like Zeus and
right,
Hercules and all that stuff. We didn't talk about any of these freaking people. You know why? Because our teachers couldn't pronounce it either. So they said, screw it, we're not teaching this.
So maybe, you know how you say giant? I'm going back to that word. Maybe it's giantomachy. Or giantomachy.
But it's a gig, like gigantuous, right?
Well, it'd be E, right?
Giganto Maki.
All right.
Does anybody know? Can anybody read this?
We're self-taught here.
This is embarrassing.
We have a disclaimer at the beginning of our show.
Because even if I think I'm saying it right, I won't be saying it right.
It's the ginger beer talking.
Ginger beer talking. That's our new slogan. All right. Our good friends, the Annunaki.
We dig the Annunaki.
Yeah. So this we did bring up in a few of our episodes in the past. Very fascinating.
I'll try to read that.
Go for it.
The Anunnaki were a group of gods worshipped in ancient Mesopotamia by the Sumerians. There we go. Akkadians, Assyrians, and Babylonians.
Very good.
They were believed to be responsible for the fates of humanity.
Much easier than Greeks.
Mm-hmm. The Anunnaki were descendants of An. Descendants of An?
Is it An or On?
On.
I don't know how you pronounce the A back in their language, but I would say An.
Yeah, On. I think it's On.
On.
The Sumerian god of the heavens, and Kai, the goddess of earth. The Anunnaki are mysterious figures in modern popular culture. Some alternative theories have emerged about the Anunnaki, including the idea that they were actual beings. In the standard Akkadian, is that how you'd say that?
Akkadian, yep.
Epic of Gilgamesh.
Remember that.
Yeah. 1200 BC. That's a weird word. Utamatapassirdian, the immortal I'm sorry if that's a god. I just insulted him.
You did.
Utnapishtim, the immortal survivor of the Great Flood, describes the Anunnaki as 7 judges of the underworld who set the land aflame as the storm approaches. Later, when the floods came, Ishtar, the East Semitic equivalent to Inanna, and the Anunnaki mourn the destruction of humanity.
You know what sucks?
That didn't make any sense at all. What I just read there.
You look up his name.
The Utnapishtim.
Yeah, it doesn't even like pretend to tell you how to pronounce it. You know how it'll break apart words and it'll tell you how to pronounce it? It does not do that. All right.
So the fact is nobody knows how to pronounce it. So
I mean, that's very disappointing. So I was hoping I'm gonna make Siri pronounce it. All right. How to say, let's see. This is going to be so off. You not pushed them? Hold on.
Unapishtim.
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 Utnapishtim.
Is that right though?
Unapishtim.
Unapishtim. Okay. I pushed him too.
All right. Thank you, Siri.
Thank you for that. Jesus, I wasn't going to get that. So, you and I talked a while back in one of the episodes we did about the Anunnaki, right? And that they were, didn't we say that they were the first beings or the first? Because we talked about them being God, right?
Mm-hmm.
At some point.
Or at least, yeah.
But the story of the Anunnaki was that the one that tied to gold?
Mm-hmm.
It was.
Yeah, but that's where they bred the hybrid race,
right?
Which is today's human race. They bred them to mine the gold. And just as we've been worried about, the gold's gone from Fort Knox.
It probably is.
They're gonna have to come back and breed some new humans to mine some more gold.
So that was straight out of the Epic of Gilgamesh, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That where we got that from? Yeah, that was interesting. So we talked about, it'd be interesting if they were truly God, or one of the beings was God, right? That we worship today. But who's to say, right? I mean, there's been so much speculation. Was God really a person? Is he just a power? Is it what is it? I mean, everybody has their own image of God, right? And I just think it'd be fascinating if that, I always go back to Men in Black, right? Mm-hmm. The end of Men in Black, when they show the aliens playing with the small Earth. And I always had this idea that we were an experiment, right? Yeah. And that always fascinates me. I think that there's something bigger out there.
That we're just in a marble.
Yeah.
Our universe is a playing piece.
Truly. Yeah. It's bizarre, but
I'll tell you who really knows a lot though about the Anunnaki and all that is Uncle Tim.
He does. He does.
He can rattle off all kinds of good stuff about them.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I think we did the episode with him, didn't we?
Yeah. Because we have to replay it so we can relearn our stuff.
I know. It's been a while. So that's, I mean, and there's, as you see, there's been, ancient pictures of them, representing the Anunnaki. Mm-hmm. And they found that, I don't remember where this was found, but somewhere, was it like over in Iran or something like that? What the hell was this? We read about it.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of artifacts and stuff that were destroyed when Saddam Hussein was going to be, when we were coming into attack that part.
I remember talking about that.
Yeah. So I don't know if they got pictures of stuff before they got destroyed, but yeah, there's a lot of history in that unfortunately,
is gone.
it's gone.
Gone for good. So this is the part that really fascinates me, and this is the part that kind of drove me to bring the idea to you about doing this show, because I think I was on Facebook one day and they showed this picture of an archaeologist. They uncovered this sword. Remember that picture I sent you?
Yeah, that was freaking
The
huge.
sword was massive. I mean, no normal person could yield a sword like that. It's not going to happen. So there's been all kinds of reports of archaeological digs on uncovering giant skeletons. You know, and I'm not talking giant 30 feet tall. That's not what I'm saying, but much larger than the average human.
10 to 15 feet. Yeah.
I mean, we have people that are 6'10". We have even people that are 7 foot tall at this point. But to be common at 10 foot or 15 feet, that's just we haven't seen that.
No.
So that's definitely ancient. So throughout the 19th and 20th century, numerous newspaper articles and reports claimed discovery of oversized human skeletons, particularly in North America, which is interesting, right? These reports often describe skeletons significantly taller than average humans. So pretty fascinating. So this is the one report that we kind of read earlier. So you want to read that?
Sure.
Read that? Okay.
So first reported in the 4th of May. All right. First reported on May 4th, 1912. So I'm going to have to say that. Issue of the New York Times, the 18 skeletons found by the Peterson brothers on Lake Lawn Farm in southwest Wisconsin exhibited several strange and freakish features. Their heights range between 7.6 feet and 10 feet, and their skulls, presumably those of men, are much larger than the heads of any race which inhabit America today. They tend to have a double row of teeth, 6 fingers, 6 toes. Now, is that on counting both hands or on each hand?
That's on each hand and foot, I would say.
I'm sure. Okay. And like humans, came in different races. The teeth in the front of the jaw are regular molars. Heads usually found are elongated, believed due to longer than normal lifespan.
So the double jaw is interesting, right?
Yeah.
Or the double row of teeth. So the front are molars, and what are the back?
Are they kind of like piranhas? You see?
And what would be the need for that? Right? I mean,
So if you're chewing it all up, and then are they like razor blades back there?
I don't know.
The second row, they don't really say what those are like.
It's kind of bizarre.
And then would your head be more elongated if you lived longer?
Wisconsin. Well, we've seen the elongated heads, right? We've seen it in the skulls. What the whole crystal skull was about. The elongated heads. We saw that, but they went.
Well, they strapped them.
Yeah, they did. Yep.
So, but this is because of a longer than normal lifespan. Is why they were more elongated.
Which I'm trying
to. So does your
out.
face start to slip off as you get older? Elongate your head,
like Beetlejuice when he pulls his nose out. That's what you look like after that, man. Kind of bizarre, but that's 20. They found 18 skeletons. Sorry, that's a 20. 18 skeletons. That's
sorry, Brenda. I'll say Wisconsin, and then I'll be in real big trouble.
So in 2002, National Geographic reported a dozen Cyclops skeletons found in Greece that stood 12 to 15 and a half feet tall.
That's freaking huge.
That's fucking huge. That is 3 humans tall. One eye socket. Giants in history are typically cannibalistic in nature. So, yeah, those are not the skeletons, by the way. Those are not the National Geographic version.
That's AI's depiction.
Yeah. It's always
They look
interesting.
like they got on alien helmets or something
They do. They're freaky. They look like robots
with a headlight.
with a headlight. Something off of Star Wars. All right, before we get to that, so I had a couple of other stories that I had sent you, and one was interesting. Was the Texas skull. So, you know, what bothers me about this is I couldn't find any pictures of it, and in fact, they're saying that the skull has been lost for quite some time. But
Somebody stole it.
Somebody stole it. So in 1939, at Morris Mound in Texas, they found this they dug up this unusually large skull. Now you said Texas has a lot of places that have mound in the name. Why is that?
Well, I just knew the one that's in that came to mind is Flower Mound, which is outside of Dallas. So, but I think there were more than that. I don't know.
But you would be able to count the 24.
Man, that would be a real feat.
That would be strange, though.
Got to hand it to you.
So, where was I going with this? So they say it's twice the size of a normal skull. This person got in touch with the University of Texas in Austin, and they've been kind enough to search their archives. They found papers telling that there was a large-scale archaeological excavation at the so-called Moorhis Mound, situated by the Guadalupe River, not far from Victoria in Texas.
I think I read that's by the coastline. So.
Yeah. So they replied saying the particular specimen you asked about, the large skull found at the Morris site in 1939, is noted in our paperwork as missing from the collection and has been for some time, not appearing in inventories undertaken since the collection arrived at Tarl, Tarl. So that must be for something. It must stand for something that they didn't get into here. Archaeologists today believe that the Moorhis Mound was a major campsite where prehistoric groups stayed at times and also a burial ground for at least 5,000 years. So that's interesting. The first to excavate the place believed that it was a man-made mound similar to mounds found in so many other places in the USA, but today it is said to be made up of debris naturally deposited from the river. So first they say it's man-made, then they say it's natural from the river.
A natural skull?
No, the mound.
Oh, the mound.
The mound itself, okay. Yeah.
I missed the important part of that story.
So there were a couple of unusual crania unearthed at the Morris Mound in Victoria County. One of these, although much mended and its base quite warped, is nevertheless obviously a skull of extraordinary size, in many respects larger than any yet reported. So that's interesting. They don't say exactly how, like, they don't give dimensions or nothing. They just say it's twice the size of a human skull.
Well, two heads are better than one.
So that was interesting. That's in Texas.
A lot of strange things in Texas.
You do have a lot
Actually,
of
there's
things in Texas.
I don't know if it would go back to giants, but like in Rockwall, it's called Rockwall, Texas, because they discovered an ancient wall that's, if they dig down, it's pretty tall. So it could have housed giants. I don't know, but
it's pretty fascinating, I think. So in 1911, another story, several giant skeletons and ancient artifacts were supposedly found in a cave in Lovelock in Nevada. Almost everything was later lost in a fire, but the skull is supposed to be found in the Humboldt Museum in Winnemucca. I've been to Winnemucca. It's a very small town.
They have a museum, though.
They have a casino.
A museum?
I played at the casino. Yeah. I've never seen the museum there. That's interesting. I'd love to go back and go see it. So it's a So Lovelock is a small town about 80 miles northeast of Reno. Miners reportedly found mummies preserved in dry bat droppings. The mummies were large, from 6.5 feet to more than 8 feet. That's huge.
Yeah, it is.
They were reportedly lying in a layer of burnt material about 4 feet under the surface, and there were also lots of broken arrows around the mummies. Before archaeologists could survey the findings, most of it was gone or damaged. And later, a fire where the artifacts were stored did no good either. Hey, isn't that kind of coincidental that all this
Yeah,
shit disappears in a fire or
Sure.
or some other? Yeah, that's kind of weird. Now they do have pictures, of what supposedly it looks like. So not that you can see it on here, but so I believe it's true. I believe it was there. This shit just happens to disappear.
Yeah. It gets stolen.
Gets stolen or
hidden.
They don't want you to know about it.
Yeah.
So
No, it doesn't work with our current idea of what history is. So,
no, it doesn't.
So we can't go back and rewrite it. Which is really interesting of what they've been digging up. No, not digging up, but what they've been seeing there in Giza, with the pyramids.
That's insane.
So the story I read today is, we're talking almost 2 miles down that they're saying an ancient city. Yeah. They're saying an ancient city is over 4,000 feet under the ground, under those pyramids. And what they were also saying is they're starting to believe that perhaps the pyramids are older than Göbekli Tepe, which is what they've been saying is the oldest dig that they've, found today. But now they're thinking that the actual pyramids are part of that, let's say if the ground didn't fill in, and the city is there. We're talking really huge monoliths.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Those are 2 mile high monoliths if you're looking at it that way, or close to that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge. That's tremendous.
And we have no structures on Earth today that
resemble that.
Could be that tall or that crazy. So
Mud Fossil University. Huh. Got to take a look at that. They were considered red-headed pale giants, the Indians said. See you, Amy.
Good night, Amy.
It's not far-fetched though, if you think about it. So our mountains were formed by earthquakes, right? Is typically how our mountains got formed. And if you go back millions and millions of years, as the earth is changing, who knows? Maybe there was civilizations 4,000 feet below the surface, and they just got buried over time.
Yeah.
Right. Volcanoes could have buried them.
The Great Flood or the flood, Younger Dryas, 13,000 years ago, whatever. Buried that civilization.
Yeah.
And
I don't know why it's people, be all this bullshit that can't happen. I don't see why it couldn't happen.
Yeah. Well, for religious reasons, sometimes it causes people to question things, and it's
as technology evolves, right? We're going to start to discover more stuff. Probably stuff people don't want us to discover, but we will, because that's just what technology is going to do. Look at it now. We would have never seen below the pyramids if they didn't have the scans that they have.
Yeah.
Right.
That's some crazy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And didn't they associate pyramids a long time ago with some type of power generation?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Isn't that?
Yeah. Yeah. They said it was like a Tesla coil kind of a thing. Yeah. That could have shot the electricity up into the atmosphere so it could be distributed like the Tesla coil was supposed to do stuff. Yeah. There's some interesting things, right? But they very well could have been that. And now that they see those columns that go down that far, with coils around them.
I know. I saw that in the picture. That was insane.
It's like, okay.
Did Chris get into that on his show?
They got into a lot of the pictures, but
not a lot of the conversation about it. It may be something we revisit.
Yeah,
because I'm fascinated.
I'd like to, especially as more comes out. I mean, that was a story that came out today about it. Now, them thinking that it dates back older than Göbekli Tepe.
I think it would be cool to discover shit like that. I really do. I mean, I think it'd be fascinating to think that there's so much more than what we know.
We don't know shit.
We really don't. I mean, our age of exploration has been relatively small in comparison to the age of the planet.
Yeah.
Everything's new that we're discovering. We always talk about this, weather. We've only been monitoring weather for 100 years or so. You know what I mean? That's nothing
for as old as the earth is. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man. That's exciting to me. There's a lot to be discovered out there. I'm all for it. Bring it on.
Let's do it.
Let's
revisit that.
The pyramid
soon. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do that. We should maybe after one of your at-home recoveries.
There you go.
We can do it during that. That'd be fun to do that. All right. So alternative evolutionary theory. Some propose that a branch of hominids evolved to a larger size but became extinct due to environmental pressures or competition with Homo sapiens. While this remains speculative, it offers a hypothetical scenario for existence of ancient giants. Could possibly. Oh, I forgot we put that picture up. Suppression of evidence theories. This is more likely, right? Certain authors and researchers argue that institutions have intentionally suppressed evidence supporting the existence of giants to maintain conventional historical narratives. These claims often cite alleged discoveries of large skeletons that were purportedly, I can't read that far, hidden or destroyed. Is that kind of what we talked about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
No, I think that has a lot to do with, our society today and what's being taught,
Yeah.
There's new things that they just don't want to acknowledge because they don't want to rewrite history. It's too expensive. Well, books, then what do they do with the books,
Right. Well, I was going to say they don't even accurately report history now as it is, but
mm-hmm.
So, I'm fascinated by it. I love the giants thing. I really do. I think it's really cool. Just even if you stop at dinosaurs, right? Just the fact that they existed.
Yeah, I just wonder if it had to do with a change. I mean, after the dinosaurs, but with giants that could have roamed the earth, later, if gravity did change and become more of a force that made it harder for larger things to survive.
So, so evolution or de-evolution.
Yeah, de-evolution,
as you would say.
Yeah.
That's kind of
all the biggest mammals on Earth today are in the ocean. So
that's true. Gravity doesn't really play an effect.
No, they wouldn't do so well on land.
Really the largest land animal we have is the elephant, right? There's nothing larger than the elephant on land.
I mean, the tallest would be like a giraffe maybe.
Yeah. But body-wise, giraffe.
Yeah, mass-wise.
Yeah, elephant's definitely the biggest.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. That's a good point. Never thought about that.
Yeah, just think of the beating up to the body every time an elephant takes a step.
Right.
That's a lot of inertia going through there.
Yeah. That I never thought about that. That's
because point. I mean, people that live today that are giants, that are, I don't want to say freakishly, but I guess they are.
They always have problems later on in life, right?
Yeah, they don't generally live to be, at a ripe old age. They die fairly young. It's because of failure of organs and whatnot, and it's probably because of that gravitational pull and just the Yeah.
And a lot of them are hunched.
Mhm.
If you notice that, a lot of your real tall people get hunched at earlier ages than most people do.
Yeah, and
right?
have to use a cane or
Yeah.
something to.
Yep.
Mhm.
I used to love, I used to have they weren't Encyclopedia Britannicas, but they were like that, the encyclopedias. And there was a section on there, the Guinness Book of World Records, and they had a really tall man in there. And I can't remember how big he was. This was years ago. I read it. But they have a picture of him in there, and he has a cane because he's all hunched over. And he was quite a bit older. But yeah, it's interesting. You see that a lot with real tall people. So.
And maybe it's because there's no buildings that are built for them. They have to hunch over to get into a building, to get through a door. Or
yeah, could be
that too.
But true to your point, though, is your heart? Is it comparable to your size? You know what I mean?
Right.
You and I have relatively the same size heart, right? If you take somebody who's 7 foot tall, is his heart bigger to support that type of a body, or is it the same as ours, right? Yeah. So that'd be an interesting thing to look at to see.
Yeah,
because
those organs if it's the same size, it would definitely take a lot longer for it to circulate through the body. So
that'd be interesting to know. I'd be curious.
Happy I'm not a giant.
Me too. I'll take my 5'10" any day. Yes, that is the truth, Christine. They tell us what they want us to know and hide the truth. Well, you can say that about a lot of things, the aliens, everything.
And someday it'll come out.
It will. It's coming out now.
It's starting to sneeze.
Bless you.
Oh man, that was the ginger beer.
Yes,
it's very effervescent.
Effervescence.
Wow.
So we will have a show next Tuesday, right?
We will. Yeah, I'm good for like the next 3 weeks.
Okay,
it should be till the 4th.
Hopefully, start filming next week too.
Yeah, we got a lot to do, a lot to accomplish in the next 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Yeah, it's gonna be fun but tough. But
up for the challenge.
Worth it in the end, though, right? For everything.
Yeah.
So for sure. All right.
Well,
that's gonna do it for us tonight.
So this has been The Truth About Beer and
Joey's treatment. No, I'm just kidding. Giants of the Earth.
Hope you all learned something.
I hope you guys enjoy this stuff. We really do. We hope you enjoy it, even though we're kind of, joking around and having fun. We hope you guys enjoy what we bring to the table. So don't forget, if you're joining us for the first time, make sure you go like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to check out our Patreon page. You will not be disappointed, I promise.
Much good stuff to come.
Yes. We're super excited about it. So, all right.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Man my station here. And do a cheers to everybody.
Yeah, cheers, everybody.
Everybody have a great week. We'll see you guys next week.
Welcome to The Truth About Beer.